Blessed be him on Terra, it is here, it is finally here. Obviously the big ticket item here is crafting and we've got it, but god damn do we have a lot as well. So let's get started. First off, we have war gear sets. This saves everything from weapons, curios, cosmetics, and even your feats to one of 5 loadout slots. As we begin to have a greater hand in determining our war crime generators, this system is going to make it that much easier to swap our preferred methods of carnage. Onto the armory exchange. As covered in our crafting video, we now can purchase any weapon, any mark from Beat Boop Boy. These items start at base rarity and possess higher average base rolls as well, so it's going to be the preferred way to get your good stuff from now on. Sour Milkman has fixed up his act finally. Contracts across the board are easier and pay out more, with 3 new contracts, which are collecting diamantine, collecting plasteel, and collecting scriptures or grimoires, replacing the previous 2 separate ones. He has also stopped insisting that you complete specific objectives at specific missions, which was incredibly frustrating for obvious reasons. An overview to the new requirements and payouts can be seen now, just floating across the screen. The main note here is, again, the lower requirements and the payout increases. And to the guest of the hour, Hadron. Price adjustments have been made and are based on the weapon's rarity, with across-the-board decreases, no longer requiring diamantine until well after the blue rarity. The main reason we are all out here, of course, though, is that we can now earn blessings and re-bless our weapons. While this is covered in the previous crafting video, to put it briefly, Earn Blessing allows you to sacrifice one of our weapons to Hadron and select a blessing from that weapon to save into that weapon class's pool. This blessing is locked at the rarity that you saved it at and can be assigned at will to other weapons with the re-bless option. This changes the targeted blessing to the new desired one, while locking the other slot from further changes. Modifiers are now granting unique bonuses based on the difficulty they introduce to the actual mission. While I won't individually go over each value, I will gently float them across the screen now, just to get a glimpse at the new payouts. One item to note is that lower intensity grants 0 change to the payout, which makes sense and also doesn't punish newer players just trying to check out the new difficulty. Also, plasteel and diamantine pulls are getting a solid bump. This, combined with all of the changes that are making crafting cheaper and easier, is going to make that gameplay loop of buying from the armory and consecrating at the shrine much more feasible. Emperor's gifts are also being given out every mission, with their rarity now tied to how difficult your mission actually was. This includes modifiers, so if you see a Damnation Hunting Grounds, just go hog wild on that thing. We are also getting emotes now, so get ready to default dance over dead heretics. Right now, emotes are very proof of concept, but regular human players are going to be getting the base kit of emotes, with Ogryn players getting their own base kit, which acknowledges their more unique proportions. Hunting Grounds is returning also, but do not fret, it is being rotated in a limited capacity, so it's not going to be every single mission, and it's mainly to playtest changes to the dogs being less annoying. Hound spawns themselves are being reworked and rebounced to prevent the feeling of an entire kennel just wandering the streets of Atoma, and hounds themselves are getting tweaks to make their combat more smooth and predictable. If you do still struggle with hounds, keep an eye out for a deep dive on hounds in the future. Oof, we are almost there, so on to the combat balances. First up, classes. Ogryns are going to be getting a buff against constantly being interrupted by incoming shots, allowing them to shrug off incoming fire like the bruisers they were meant to be. Their feat Knife Through Butter is actually getting just completely replaced with a whole new feat. Knock them down and beat them up. This feat instead grants stacks of 2% damage based on how large the enemy you just staggered is. It appears this value stacks on stacks on stacks and maxes at 25, which totals at 50% extra damage. I can see this being a really strong contender for Ogryns, which prefer a more crowd control approach and want to be rewarded for tying down bulwarks, crushers, or even just the whole horde for their team to just better mow down with. Bulgor also now triggers for all enemies hit by the Bull Rush charge, and the bleed stacks have also been increased from 2 to 4 stacks, so you go get 'em, girl. Also, as an aside, Ogryns can now pick up items, as their arms just experienced a nice good old growth spurt, so good for them. Psyker's non-warp weapons now have a flat passive vent for peril, which was previously defaulted at the max. This is a slight nerf, however, passive vents for stabs have been since buffed across the board, so pretty good considering the average Psyker loadout. And to wrap up classes, the Veteran's Fragstorm now earn them credit for killing things that actually bleed with it. Next up is weapons, and dear god, they just keep tweaking these things, so let's just steamroll through these bad boys. First up, the Bash from Ogryn Cleavers now has better critties, and I mean much better, lord they were low. Katachan Swords blessings are now reworked, with Vicious Slice and Rampage now granting more damage across all tiers. Dueling Swords benefits from the wide sweeping changes to riposte and precognition, granting better benefits as well as the ability for these blessings to reset the duration after successful dodge. Rampage is also improved for these as well, so more damage. Woo! Turtle Swords are being granted the title of Can Opener, so they are now much better at dealing with flak and carapace armor, as well as sporting a nice improvement to Unyielding as well. I may actually try these guys out now. Combat Blade also benefits from the same general changes to riposte and precognition, though it's also getting better weak spot and crit damage now, so that's pretty cool. The Sapper Shovel is having its light attack and weapon special stabs finesse multiplier increased. The Thrust Blessing is also fixed and is now granted on the third heavy attack in the chain. Its Limb Splitter Blessing is also going to get flattened to negative 10% power for all attacks after the first. Still sucks like a lot, but hey, at least higher tiers are less garbage than the first tier. The Take a Swing Blessing now has better weak spot damage on all tiers to make up for the Shapple's weak spot damage shortcoming, so that's also nice. Antax Mark V Stab Move has better finesse multiplier, so random nice little buff there to throw in. Tacti Axes are also now having their Limb Splitter negatives flattened as well, so they'll be less painful to have to use. Bloodletter just got better across the board for the Chain Gang. Flamer's Blaze Away Blessing is substantially improved with much more power. Psyker's Blaze Sword is getting the same buffs to riposte and precognition that we've been seeing as well. Trauma Staff's Blazing Spirit now grants 3 stacks rather than just 1 stack of Soul Blaze. Void Strike Staff is getting the exact same treatment. The Ogie's Grenade Gauntlet Special has an impact of the actual goddamn grenade, which is awesome. It's also granting more toughness from Glory Hunter and reassuringly accurate, plus its Blaze Away is also getting buffed for power. Columnus Mark V Autogun is getting more bullets, more power, and also general niche is being revised based on the improvements. Hellbore Lasguns have doubled their cleave, increased their capacities, and the Mark II and Mark III have improved armor penetration as well, so that's pretty cool too. Combat Shoddy Blessings are getting some buffs as well, with Flechette now granting 6 stacks instead of just 1, and Full Bore getting increased power across all tiers as well. Heavy Lasgun is getting some love, fixing aiming bugs as well as buffing base damage, increasing its armor penetration on maniacs, increasing its bullets, and also reduced hipfire spread. Its Blessing Dum Dum is also getting better damage bonuses as well. The Shredder Auto Pistol is having its range nerfed, but it's also going to be much better against maniacs with a much better armor modifier. Its general impact is also being buffed as well, and with the added capacity, should make it much better at rattling away them hoarders. Plus, its Blaze Away Blessing is also getting a buff too. The Stub Revolver is also getting a slight buff through a fix to its Point Blank Blessing, not applying correctly to other weapons, not letting you just appropriately bitch slap a Rager before doming a sniper across state lines. Ripper Guns now have more bullets to actually rip with, and their Flechette Blessing is also getting the same stack improvements. Born in Blood is also getting more toughness across all tiers, and its Blaze Away Blessing is getting similar treatment as we've seen. The Heavy Stubber and Kickback is also getting this Blaze Away buff as well. And the Kickback is getting its Punishing Fire, Full Bore, and Expansive Blessings buffed to deliver more power as well. The Rumbler and Vet's Plasma Gun are again getting the Blaze Away buff, plus the Glory Hunter Blessing buff on all tiers. And finally, the Vet's Power Sword is getting a bug fix so that reactivating it resets your allotted number of power swings, with a slight nerf to Power Cycler, only granting 5 swings per activation. And finally, the Sword's Cleave bonus from Savage Sweep is buffed across all tiers. And that wraps up everything for this patch. We really missed a ton, and I mean a ton of random fixes across the entire game. But I wanted to have this video focus as much on what actually impacted players the most, and leave out smaller things like Morningstar guards just being a little more chatty. But as always, if you liked the video, drop a like, comment if I missed anything you wanted to see, and have a great day.